NBA announced last night that it is closing access to its locker rooms, allowing in only players and essential personnel. The league made the decision with the NHL, Major League Baseball, and Major League Soccer as concerns over the coronavirus increase. They said in a joint statement, quote, given the issues that can be associated with close contact in post and pregame settings, all team locker rooms and clubhouses will only be open to players and essential employees of team facilities until further notice. That means, of course, media access is going to be maintained but designated in locations outside of the locker room and clubhouse settings. So, obviously, limiting reporters' access to players. Dave, you were a reporter. Locker room access is a huge part of your job. And I always like to point out, your job is not to just get information for yourself. Your job is to get information to tell all of these people what's going on.
There's another word for you. I'm a conduit.
Don't do that. I know that word.
Okay,
I know that word.
Now, I never want to miss the forest for the trees and suggest that, oh my gosh, this is going to hamper me to do my job and I could potentially be putting people at risk. The health and safety of everyone involved in the NBA is first and foremost. And it's going to be a wait-and-see approach. We'll see how it goes tonight at the game, and having this 6 to 8 feet space in between the reporters and players, maybe it's going to work out swimmingly. The concern moving forward, beyond the health concern, is that locker room access is important to develop rapport with players and unearth stories that you wouldn't normally find. Now, I can come up with a concept for a story and go try to interview a player, and sometimes that's going to be awesome. But stories are also unearthed by just having conversations, get to know a person. Like a couple years ago, I wrote a story about LeBron James's problem with what Charles Barkley was saying about him on air. That wasn't stemmed from me saying, hey, LeBron, let me ask you about Charles Barkley. It was
cold.
We talked about things that we saw on air, and then it kind of developed over time. Richard Jefferson hosts a podcast, and that through those conversations, all sorts of stories come out. And that's the only way I think you get to know person to person, reporter to player. If you get rid of that, it's going to be hard to get the best stories for the fans to read.
Absolutely. And, there's more about this, too, because the NBA has a call between league officials and team owners scheduled on Wednesday to discuss next steps. The NBA told teams last week they needed to at least prepare for the possibility of playing games in empty arenas. Now, LeBron James notably originally said last week he does not want to play in empty arenas. He had different comments today. Take a listen.
Well, it's funny because when I was asked the question of would you play without no fans, I had no idea that it was actually a conversation going on behind closed doors about the particular virus. Obviously, I would be very disappointed at not having the fans, because that's what I play for. I play for my family. I play for my fans. They're saying no one could actually come to the game if they decide to go to that point. So I'll be disappointed in that. But at the same time, you gotta listen to the people that's keeping a track on what's going on, and if they feel like it's best for the safety of the players, the safety of the franchise, safety of the league, to mandate that, then we all listen to it.
All right, so as a former player, how would you feel about playing a game in an empty arena?
Well, nobody would want that. But, one thing that, Perk and we can all agree on is, like, we used to always joke we would play this game for free. Right. We would be in this park playing this game. We would do this any place, in a YMCA, in a gym. Players are always looking to play pickup games at UCLA. Like, there's no fans there. There's no nothing there. And this is an opportunity. We're only in this spot because of a crisis. So we can be sensitive to that and say, look, if one player gets sick, we all both know that if one player gets a flu on the team, like 7 guys ultimately get it over a 2-week span, because we're touching the same ball. We're all drinking water. It's just part of it. And that's just a part of the precautions, and I understand it.
I'm just like, I got to play in front of fans. That's just like the argument, the debate we had earlier today when we was talking about home court advantage. You have home court advantage because of your fans. Your fans give you that energy. Your fans, you have the love for the game, but playing for the fans brings it out of you. And by the way, that just shows how powerful LeBron James is. Because let me tell you why he backtracked. Adam Silver hit him and was like, hey, Bron, I need you to say this, man. I need for you to be on board. He's like, I got you.
I know you wouldn't like it, Perk, and obviously I know you feel also that if you don't want a bunch of people getting sick watching you play, that's not what you're looking for. Do you think it would feel weird to just be playing in the silence? You can hear every squeak of the sneaker, right?
Nobody wants to play.
You can feel.
Nobody wants to play, but it's done out of necessity, not because it's just like, hey, you know what? What is it going to be like with no fans today? No, I understand if people are trying to do it for
Here's what I know. I know that if we broadcast games without fans in the arena and people hear what I used to hear when I was a sideline reporter sitting courtside, they're going to have that bleep button ready.
Well, they're going to have ambient noise.
Are foul-mouthed.
They're going to say, no, y'all, them. I'm retired.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.